Hello, warriors, and welcome to another week with me, Suzy Barolo, Certified Life and Wellness Coach. I am a parent and constantly on the journey of parenting, and even today I'm looking, my tripod's a little off because my little munchkin was using it for his YouTube channel, which quite possibly gets more views than my YouTube channel, but that's okay. It's all part of an experience, and as I have reflected on this whole month, parenting is part of this whole long self-development journey, and it's wonderful. And today is going to be a two-parter. This is the first part, and next week will be the next part. I promised that I would touch on discipline and how to discipline as a conscious parent and in a mindful manner, bringing into play the two pieces of the kind of coach that I am, a mindfulness-based cognitive coach. And yet I cannot do that just in one episode, or at least one episode that you all stay awake for. It's exciting stuff, but I am going to divide it into two. So next week I will focus more on actual discipline, whereas this week we are looking at how to raise empowered children, emotionally empowered children. And so I want you to think of your emotionally empowered child as a strong, powerful tree. And trees have four main pieces of this thriving tree called your child. The ground nourishing the tree, the tree's roots, the tree's trunk, and the tree's branches. The ground nourishing the tree is you, the emotionally empowered parent. The roots of the tree are the intertwining beliefs that they have that are fundamental to their growth as the tree, that they are loved, they are important just for who they are, and that life happens for them. The trunk of the tree is their emotional intelligence, their ability to manage and process their emotions from an empowered, non-reactive, steady, solid place, like the trunk of a tree. And the branches are all the special pieces that make them unique and themselves and them in this world. Maybe their love of music, their love of dancing, their love of sitting and playing video games, whatever it is. Those branches are them and their expression of them. But today we are focusing on the pieces, mainly the nourishing ground, us, the roots, and the trunk. This whole month we've approached parenting from a place of mindfulness, a view of mindfulness, looking at how our experiences, both our past experiences and our present experiences, affect how we relate to and affect how we connect with our children. We can't give our children what we don't have. That has been very clear, and I want to continue to reinforce that for as long as I am speaking, that we cannot give to our children what we don't have. Looking at our kids as a tree helps me see many things. First, they will only be as strong as me. I cannot give my kids what I don't have. The better I care for myself, for my mental health, for my physical health, for my emotional health, the better they'll be able to care for theirs. I want to back up. We can only give to our kids what we don't have, and the tree will only be as strong as it will be when they're children. When they're adults, you can move on and nourish your own tree. But right now, we're looking at our kids still living in our house, still under our wing, and looking at how we need to take care of our physical, emotional, and mental health in order for them to take care of theirs. Second, looking at them as a tree shows me how it is important for them to see life through the lens of life being good and working for them. Finally, I see how the stronger and sturdier their trunk is, their base of emotional intelligence, the more resilient and strong they will grow to be in all their endeavors and all the places that their branches take them. So let's back up a bit. In order for our kids to be able to process their emotion from a strong, empowered place, we need to know how to do that. Gulp. If you're anything like me, I did not know how to manage my emotions for quite some time. It was not something that was modeled to me. I did not know how to manage them in a healthy way. I certainly knew how to manage them in ineffective, unhealthy ways. I knew how to manage them by avoiding them and resisting them and shopping or eating or over-exercising or blaming others for my emotions. I also knew how to try to manage my emotions by trying to control everything that happened around me and everything that was going to happen in the future. For many years, I came at parenting from a place of control, trying to control my kids' experiences, really trying to be that like master helicopter mom, and also trying to control how everyone felt in the process. So not only controlling what they did, but also controlling their experience of it. Like, oh my goodness, no, you're happy, really, you're happy with that, or no. Whatever it is. At some point, I realized that not only was it impossible to control others, it was pretty hard to control my own experiences. At some point I realized it was impossible to control others, and it was also really hard to control my experiences from a place of shame and resistance. That wasn't getting me anywhere. When we don't know how to experience our own feelings, and when we're shaming ourselves and resisting them, we can't teach our children how to safely and compassionately process theirs. If you haven't yet, please listen to last week's blog on it looks at self-compassion as a parent and how understanding that we're all doing the best we can, but we do need to have that self-compassionate piece before even starting this. So how do we teach our kids to process their emotions, or how do we model our own? Well, the good news is once you learn how to process your emotions, you can teach your kids how to process emotions the same way. We all process them the same, regardless of age. If you need a quick review of how your brain works and where emotions come from, listen into the first part of the blog from the beginning of this month that I have linked in my blog post on my website, www.smbwell.com. Because I explain that. Otherwise, if you've been listening for a while or you get the cognitive thought model, you know that the thoughts we focus on create the feelings we feel. In actuality, what actually happens is the thoughts we focus on in our brain release a chemical that creates the energy of the emotion in our body. Emotions are energy in motion. Energy in motion. It is important to note that energy is in your body. It needs to be processed. They cannot be wished away. Once we have that emotion, you can't wish the emotion away. Once the energy is in your body, it needs to be processed. So if your child is upset, it does not help to say, oh, you shouldn't be sad about that, or you shouldn't be upset about that. You shouldn't be disappointed. That just shames them and teaches them how to resist the emotion. The energy from the emotion is already in their body and it needs to be released. How many times have we done this to ourselves as an adult? How many times have we told ourselves that we shouldn't be disappointed or shouldn't feel a certain way or shouldn't be upset even though we were? Newsflash, it doesn't work. Once you've focused in on the thought that releases the energy of the emotion must be processed. I catch myself doing this all the time. It's a learning process. I caught myself doing it just yesterday, actually. My boys are with their dad on vacation this week, and I thought the thought of how this week would seem extra long because my kids weren't with me. I didn't get to see them until next week. Once I felt that thought, I felt the emotion of loneliness. I actually caught myself trying to say, oh, Susie, you shouldn't be lonely. They're having a wonderful experience. Well, sorry, Susie Q, it doesn't work that way. They could be having the time of their life, but if I think the thought that makes me feel lonely, I get to process the feeling of loneliness. Once the energy's in my body, it needs to be processed. Once I feel the lonely, I need to process the lonely. And then after I'm done feeling the lonely, I can then choose to go back and focus on a more empowering thought. Like, wow, how lucky that they're on vacation with their dad and having a great time. I'm going to feel something else. But once I feel that lonely feeling, it's in there and it needs to be processed. So, the $1,000,000 question, how do we process our emotions? 3 steps. Actually, no matter your age. 1, name it. Name it. Feelings are one word. Say the word. Say what you feel. This can be hard for kids and even more so for adults if you haven't been used to doing this your whole life. But be patient with yourself and get started. Feel the word. I feel lonely. It's not, I feel left out because I blah, 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 blah. No, one word. Lonely, sad, happy, energetic, bewildered, whatever it is. Number 2, describe it. Emotions are energy in your body. Where do you feel the energy? Where do you feel the feeling? What does loneliness feel like? What does sadness feel like? I encourage my kids and my clients to describe their feelings in as much detail as if they're describing it to an alien who had never felt that emotion before. Where exactly in their body do they feel it? Is it cold? Is it tight? The more descriptive, the better. So 1, name it. 2, describe it. 3, sit with it. Allow it. Pour kindness on yourself, but feel it. Emotions come in waves. They come and they go. Instead of explaining it or judging it or resisting it, sit with it. Experience. I like to put my hand on my heart when I'm feeling a more difficult emotion like loneliness. I like to lift my hands to the sky when I'm feeling a joyous emotion like excitement or joy or gratitude. This is the beauty of being a human. Feel your emotions, all of them. Feel your life. Live your experience. Practice those 3 steps. Name it, describe it, sit with it. Over and over, consciously, as many as you can during your day with both big and small emotions. How do you feel when you're waiting in line at the supermarket? Name it, describe it, sit with it. Okay, don't be tempted to take your phone out. Maybe you're in a rush and you feel nervous or anxious because you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get to the next thing? And you're like, okay, what does anxiety feel like in my body? All right, I'm just going to sit with it. It's okay. It's normal to feel anxious. I'm feeling a little rushed. I didn't leave enough time to go to the market. Or maybe you're feeling relieved that there's a line and you don't have to go meet your mother-in-law as soon as possible. Where do you feel relief in your body? Just sit with it. Don't take your phone out and look at it. Don't start purchasing Reese's peanut butter cups and eating them while you're waiting in line. Just sit and allow yourself to feel the emotion. Practice these 3 steps over and over as many times as you can through the day. That's how you get better. How do you feel when you see your husband after a day at work? Name it. Describe where you feel it in your body. Sit with it. We get good at what we practice. Let's practice emotional intelligence. The better you get, the more capable you are at modeling it for your kids. Begin bringing emotions into your household. Say things like, I feel nervous because I haven't prepared for my big talk next week. My chest feels tight and hot. You can also verbally model how nothing has gone wrong. You can say, I'm just going to sit with this. I'm okay. It's normal for me to feel nervous when I haven't prepared for something big. I get it. It's all right. I'm going to let it pass like a wave. I'm going to ride the wave. I'm going to feel the nervousness. It will pass. And then I'll move forward and be able to take an action that isn't reactive. I won't start eating or pour a glass of wine to get over it. I won't start blaming the event organizer. Why couldn't she have had this event a different month or whatever? I will feel it. I will process it. And then I'll say, okay, now let me think of what I can do. What action step can I take forward that will be proactive for me? This is where we can see the difference between feeling our emotions and reacting to our emotions. Think of the last time you felt anxious. What did you do? Did you sit with your hand on your heart and tell yourself it was okay? That'd be awesome if you did. Or did you get on your phone to shop? Or did you put food in your mouth? Or did you get on Facebook to distract? Feeling our emotions without reacting to them can be terrifying at first, but I am here to tell you it gets easier with practice. When we remind ourselves that feelings are like waves and they come and then they go, we gain power. We know there's an end in sight. You won't be feeling this forever and ever. As soon as you process it, it goes. It's only when we hold on and resist the emotions that they get bigger, and then it's like we're living life in one anxious state. Emotions are not good or bad. They're part of the human experience. When I remind myself of other times in life when I've felt strong feelings and survived, I gain confidence to do it again and to just sit there and be with it. Let's look at the second major part of empowering our kids, their roots. When children view life as happening for them rather than to them, they approach life with a mindset of growth and opportunity. Look around you, okay? Think of the people around you and the people that you know around you. How many people go through life looking for someone or something to blame for what's happening in their life? How does that leave them feeling? If you're one of those people, how does that leave you feeling? Powerless and out of control. Okay, they move through life a victim of their experiences. I lived this way for many years, so I am fully aware of how I felt, just powerless, helpless. And, if my life, what was happening in my life was because of what everyone else was doing, well, then of course I felt helpless and overwhelmed. Did not feel good. I can clearly attest to the difference in how I feel now that I realize life happens for me. I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for the outcomes of my life. I am responsible for processing my emotions in a powerful way. When I view my life and my experiences as happening for me, as an opportunity to learn and become a more conscious being, I feel empowered and so in charge. It feels wonderful. Even if it's an awful feeling, I know, okay, I can handle this. You've got this, Susie. When I used to view my experiences as happening to me and I blamed others, I felt out of control, anxious, and helpless. As a child, I did not have the roots of my tree. My parents' love on me, for me, was based on conditions. The conditions of my good grades, my athletic performance, my ability to behave and act in a way that fit in with their social circles and what they deemed was correct. I was taught that life happened to me, and that left me reactive and externally focused. Really feeling sort of freaked out, like I had to control all these other things to be a good person. I became a massive people pleaser, pleasing everyone but myself. More important about what other people thought than what I thought, what my own inner Susie thought. While my parents did the best they could, their love for me was not unconditional, but rather very conditional. As I've shared before, I've reached a place of peace with my parents and their relationship, knowing that just in general, we can't fix what we don't see. So they couldn't fix something they didn't see as wrong. They were reacting on their own experiences and their own parenting and their own background, and they did the best they could. That said, as an adult myself now, I know better, and so I do better. Okay, when my kids were younger, I parented very similar to what was modeled for me as a parent from my parents. Like my parents, I did the best I could with the knowledge I had. I worked together and just thought that was the way to do it. But now I know better and I do better, and I have been doing better, and it feels better all around. One of my favorite and main parenting mantras that I return to time and time again is the dysfunction stops here. Okay? Whether my parents knew better or not, I'm not blaming them. They did what they did, but it stops with my generation. It's done. My children are loved unconditionally, no matter. I consciously and consistently model how to process emotions, all emotions, in front of my kids. I model and verbalize to my kids that my love for them is not contingent on their behavior, their grades, or their actions. I love them, period. No matter. I love them because they are here. I also model how life is inherently good, even in the difficult times. I share my experiences, and I speak of them as growth opportunities with them and with myself. I don't hide from them life's difficult moments, and I also don't add drama to it. I don't make it about someone else doing it to me or whatever. I am in control, and I model that for them. When I let life be as it's going to be, without trying to micromanage it, without trying to control it as I did in the past, I drop so much of the drama that's all around, and I'm able to just live and be. When my kids and I accept that things are happening around us for our greater good, for us to learn, it's empowering. That's what we want, an empowered emotional child. That's what I love being. It feels so much better, an empowered emotional adult. When I accept that things are happening around me for my greater good, they're happening to me, for me to learn, for us to expand and grow into that next best version of ourselves. That way, I get to discover a lightness of being and existing that is freeing. To me, this is emotional empowerment. The ability to process our emotions without reacting to them does take daily practice, and it's something I expect to be working on for the rest of my life. I think that's part of being human. You evolve to the next level and something gets you there. You evolve to the next level and you get another learning experience. Keep going. The more I involve my kids in my safe emotional management, the more they develop their own emotional intelligence. What I mean by safe emotional management is that it's non-reactive. I am coming at it from a reasoning brain, not a reactive brain. When my kids accept difficult emotions as a natural and inevitable part of life, they don't fear it as much. They acknowledge their feelings and have the confidence to process them. The trunk of their tree provides the stability to know they can handle whatever emotions come their way. Their roots provide them the confidence and trust in the world to know that everything that is happening for them, for their greater good. Think of the comfortingness of that. Life is happening for you. Yeah, this is hard, but it's happening for you. All right? The rich and supportive soil of my love and me being that parent is there to pour love on them and connect with them whenever and however needed. Next week, we'll dive into how we can discipline and raise our children from this mindful, conscious place. Conscious parenting does not mean permissive parenting. It doesn't mean my kids walk all over me and get to do whatever they want. Rather, it takes the true definition of discipline, which is to teach, and layers it over our unconditional love for them and understanding of our kids and ourselves. For now, this week, please practice the 3 steps of emotional processing wherever you can in your life. All right? Just practice it. Dig into feeling all of what this magnificent life has to offer. Know I am here to help you on your journey. I have been through the starting at blaming everyone else and thinking I'm not good enough, all that, and now just no, I'm damn freaking good. Not perfect, but I'm exactly as I'm meant to be. I am here on this earth, evolving to that next level, and I can serve as the best person I can be when I take great care of myself and I pour that love and kindness on myself. It doesn't help me or anyone else around me to shame or resist what's out there in this world. So let's go and just be that supportive soil for our kids. I am here to help you on your journey if you'd like it. I'm here to take care of you. Many free resources on my website. Not all days are easy, but all days are opportunities, warriors. Let's go get them.